Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? Now today I was want to sit here and actually watch this video. Yeah, like, is it possible for Texas Chainsaw Massacre to recover? I was just because honestly, this was something that I was curious about, and it's not like I wasn't really curious if could recover. More like what the fuck happened to it is what I was curious about, and so I was just going to sit here and watch this video and see like where everything is.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is on life support right now. It's fighting every day just to survive. Lobby dodging still hasn't been properly addressed. Matchmaking is still broken. The new player experience is unforgivably bad. There's loads of unacceptable bugs. The new DLC pay-to-win victim, Virginia, launched broken, and it took weeks before her skill tree could even be properly accessed at all, resulting in multiple refunds, all of which the TCM community is rightfully very pissed off about.
On behalf of all the community, can you apologize for everything your community is going through with your game? We never heard sorry. I'm not sure what there is that needs to be apologized for, but if you feel that an apology is needed, absolutely, I'll say it. I'm sorry.
Now, Gun has since gotten an F rating.
Okay, so from my experience with this game, before we even really get into this game or this video, now my experience from this overall has been, I enjoyed the game when it first came out, but the more and more I played this game, was one of those games that after not even a week of playing it, it seems like everybody had a build that they knew what they wanted to do, and they knew exactly how they wanted to play. They knew exactly everything, and from listening to what they were talking about originally, they were talking about wanting to make a casual game, kind of like Friday when they made Friday, the 13th. But that game was so much, I don't know, different, because it was just a 1v7, and you didn't even take much skill to even have to be somewhat decent at Jason. Like, now, if you was going up against some high ass survivors, like some good survivors, now there would be times that you just felt like you was being bullied, especially if you ain't that good of a killer. But at the same time, you could still pick up any limb or something, and it wasn't that hard to do anything. And then also, being a survivor was just more fun as well, like being a killer or a survivor in Friday the 13th. But this game, it seems, I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and say it's one-sided, because people that are killers, they're going to be like, being a survivor's too OP, and then people that love being survivors, they're going to be like, being killers too OP, kind of like the old Dead by Daylight argument. But there's not like a argument that I've not really heard that says that survivors are really that OP, from what I've experienced, at least. Now, other people will sit there and experience other things, but me, I did not experience much when I was, because I played killer and survivor on both. And when I was killer, it seemed like it was just too hard to find the survivors, honestly. But that could be just because I didn't really give the game time enough to learn the game and all this and that. But at the same time, the learning curve on that game was such a hard thing for me. And I didn't honestly want to take the time to just in general to learn all that, because like I'm gonna use Friday the 13th for example. I knew, like, okay, I had to go do this, do that, and then fix this, fix that, and do this and that. There were certain perks that made things better. There were certain perks that made things maybe a little worse. Either way, and same as being a killer, there were certain perks as being, like, if you was Jason, like, made things better, made things worse. But on Texas Chainsaw, if you knew exactly if you know the maps, you know exactly what to do. That's, you could say that for any killer game, I guess, at this point, like Dead by Daylight, Friday 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, any other games that's been out like that are kind of like this. You could say what you want to say about it, but when it come down to it, there was two. There overall, it feels like even casuals, I feel like, could pick up Dead by Daylight, and even like somewhat like by the end of the game, after maybe a game or two, they could somewhat understand the game. If they hate it, they hate it. They like it, they like it. But I've, in my encounters, more people have ended up liking Friday than they did Dead by Daylight. But more people like Dead by Daylight than Texas. Because if they come from, with the way you level up your stuff, the way you get your stuff in Dead by Daylight is more confusing than Friday the 13th was. But then Texas is just way more confusing than anything. And it seems like if you do want to play that game, Friday the 13th, you can't even play that really now. I don't know really what the story behind that is and everything. But me just wanting to sit here and play the game, I don't get to have as much fun with the game like I did. I don't know how to make sense of it. Like, I'll sit here and play, but it's like what I'm getting at is Texas Chainsaw Massacre just does not seem like it's meant for the casual player. Like, there's a big learning curve, long story short.
From the Better Business Bureau, up until the recent update, virtually nobody wanted to play the family role. The new family character that was supposed to release weeks ago with Virginia has still not come out, with zero information on when that's happening, and the game still has a massive identity crisis between being a casual or competitive game. So it's currently just a disastrous situation through and through. However, for the first time since the game launched, there's a glimmer of hope for the future of TCM, and I'll talk about that more in detail later on in the video. But to start, we're going to go through all of these problem areas for the game and discuss what the developers need to do in order to actually solve these issues once and for all. Also, this is going to be a lengthy video, so if there's something you're interested in specifically, use the timestamps to jump directly to it. Alright, to begin, let's look at lobby dodging and matchmaking in general because they're intertwined. If a family player currently dodges a lobby, the matchmaking system does not know how to refill that spot, which essentially kills the lobby. So obviously the devs need to fix the technical backfill.
I will say that that is something that I didn't even realize that was a thing, honestly, because I haven't played it enough. But as in, I noticed that when I was playing and then say people backed out, it seemed like I could never find some more players or something. So my buddies and them would be like, let's back out and try to find a new lobby since this and that. But I didn't realize that they weren't even trying to find or the matches weren't even able to be filled again. I thought it was just something else, like just not enough players or something that wanted to be Survivor or something. Because like most people, like they can play with their friends and all be killer, and everybody thought that was just my opinion because I thought that's how it was going to be. Most people wanted to be killer in this game because it would be more fun. Since like in Dead by Daylight, there's only one to, I think now there's you could be up to 2 killers. I don't know. I haven't played Dead by Daylight in a while, but I know that they had some mode that you could play up with 2 killers, like 8 survivors or some shit. And but my point is, it seemed like the people that wanted to play Texas Chainsaw Massacre that I was talking to, they were like, shit, we all can be killer without even caring, and we could just get into a game with full of survivors and stuff. But like a lot of times we couldn't find people, or if we did find people and they backed out, that lobby was just all screwed then. And yeah.
issue. It's less noticeable when there's more players and less dodging, but it's still really embarrassing because virtually any other developer I'm aware of would have had this issue fixed as soon as possible, like within a few days. And this has been going on since pretty much launch. It seemed like they had fixed it briefly at one point and then it broke again soon after. Nothing can save the Texas Chainsaw Massacre if this is not addressed, and hopefully very soon, because it's gone on way too long already. The other side of the coin is family players dodging lobbies. For context, it's often taking victim players up to 15 minutes to actually load into a single match, unless they happen to get lucky, whereas it takes a family player about 30 seconds on average to get into a match. Again, this is because when victims queue into a lobby, if a single family player decides they don't want to start the match and leaves, the lobby breaks, forcing everyone else to go back out to the main menu, regroup if they're in a pre-made group, and then search again, which takes a lot of time. Now first, let's talk about what the developers should not do. They should not punish lobby dodgers. Lobby dodging is a reflection of the current state of the game, right? If they get lazy, which is what this is, punishing
Okay, I agree with that, with up to the lobby part, but like use Dead by Daylight for example. If you leave or quit into a match, like if you leave a match, you get a penalty of being, you have to wait because you left the game. But in the lobby part, yeah, I agree with that. But if I don't know what he's going to say, but like if he says something about saying that they should do the lobby part. I don't think they should, but I do. I think he just said no. But I do agree. I do say that people need, like, if they get into a game and they back out, they should be penalized at least up to 30 seconds, and then more and more per time that they back out within those 24 hours of the day, gameplay day.
For dodging lobbies is a lazy alternative to actually addressing the underlying issues on why players dodge lobbies in the first place. I want to be clear. If they add in a DC penalty for dodging lobbies, not matches that have actually started, but literally pre-game lobbies, players are just going to quit playing the game altogether, right? And you might say, well, if they're lobby dodging, then I hope they quit. Good riddance. But that's short-sighted. If these players quit playing, then the only matches you'll really be getting is against brand new family players who have no idea what.
Yeah, I was exactly about to say that. That, or you're not going to find nobody new no more. Like, if they don't try to fix it, what I was thinking is, because, and one thing that gets me is like, okay, I could be killer or survivor, and I could sit there and see what they're using. I'm like, okay, their builds is this, their build is that. I shouldn't be able to see their fucking build, in my opinion. Honestly, like their perks or whatever, because if I'm able to see that shit, yeah, I'm gonna want to back the fuck out. That's my opinion, at least. From when I'm sitting there playing. Like when I'm playing Survivor and I see a killer that has a certain type of perk or this or that, I even kind of do that when I'm on Dead by Daylight and I'm killer and I see certain survivors have certain perks and this and that, and I'm like, fuck, I kind of don't want to play this, so I back the fuck out because they're just going to sit there and bully the fuck out of me. And I feel like Friday. I don't remember if he was able to. I don't think he was able to see anything, what they had, and I kind of feel like that was perfect. Like, if you're killer or survivor, no matter what, you shouldn't be able to see what the other people are bringing in, and because let it just be a fucking surprise when you get into the match. Because that when I was playing this all the time, I feel like me being able to see what people was bringing in and stuff, even Dead by Daylight, when I'm able to see, like, okay, this person's got a flashlight, so I know this person's going to probably be toxic, so I need to make sure I get to this person, or either get to this person and get them down, or I need to add this certain perk so that I make sure I avoid this person, or I need to like avoid that person just altogether, or bring in like a certain perk that makes them drop their stuff or this or that.
they're doing and are at a huge disadvantage due to all of the min-maxing, which everyone knows is just completely unfair, and their experience is going to be so awful that they'll just uninstall the game. They will, and rightfully so. And just keep in mind, the second there's no more family players, the game dies, right? So we need to be patient and address these core issues with the game before resorting to draconian methods. Now, if you are interested, I do go into the lobby situation in way further detail in my Texas Lobby Simulator video here, because there's a lot of reasons people dodge lobbies, and it necessitates its own video entirely. But in this video, I want to focus more on the core issues with the game itself, all of which circles back to TCM's severe identity.
And another thing is, like, when I'm sitting there playing, and I see, I know that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, like, one of the main people. Like, when I see him, Bobby, Billy, Bubba, whatever you want to call him, with the chainsaw, there's been times that I would rather play against him than if I see like a John or a certain killer. Like, because I'm able to see the killer, I don't like that either. I do understand, like, there's only a certain number of killers and a certain number of this or that, but I think you should be like, when I like Dead by Daylight, you're if you're a survivor, you're very shocked about unless you're a brand new killer or survivor. That's the only way to really tell who you're going against most of the time, and you still have to wait until you're loading into the match to find out. You can't find out until you're loading in, and so I feel like they should make it like, if you do figure out anything, you should wait. It should wait till, like, you're loading in. And so, like, hell, when I'm even a killer, and I see somebody so fucking high of a level, there's not that big of a thing either. Like, that big of a, like, matchmaking thing. Like, I'm not saying, it has to be skill-based matchmaking or ranked or this or that, but ranked would, like, kind of like how Dead by Daylight does it, would be more fair, in my opinion, because, like, if you're a certain level, I've been in matches with people, and I'm, like, probably level 20 at this moment, and because I barely have played in a while, and I barely played when it first came out, but when I was playing, I leveled up to probably, like, level 20, and then my point is, it seemed like, and when I was level 20, I was getting in lobbies with level like 99, 98 and shit like that. And I'm like, how the fuck am I in these kind of lobbies? People that's been playing the game nonstop done figured out every little damn detail. And that was the last time I played, really. Hell, when I was first getting on, I was getting in lobbies with people that were like level 50 and shit. And I'm over here like, bro, this is fucking ridiculous. I barely even understand this game, and I'm getting into lobbies with people that's already been playing up to level 50, and you're over here bullshitting me out of my possibly fun experience that I could be having just because we're just trying to fill the lobbies up at this point, which I do like because you're just getting people in, but I don't know. People that has been playing for so long, they've done figured out what works. People that are just brand new to the game, they don't know what the fuck's going on. And, like, hell, the lobby thing, like he said.
Crisis. That is the game meant to be casual, or is the game meant to be competitive? I frequent the forums, Twitter, YouTube, all pretty often to get a sense of how the community feels about the game, and what I see constantly is balance talk. Everyone has a million ideas on how to better balance the game, but the problem here is that we can't even begin to really have a balanced discussion because the game and the developers don't really know what the game is even supposed to be. They say it's supposed to be a casual horror sim that lets players experience the movie in video game form. but then betray that vision entirely with the most egregious leveling and competitive progression system I have ever seen in a multiplayer game, right? Abilities, attributes, perks, perk tiers, skill trees. It's insane. So in the developers' minds, they have made a casual game. If you don't know exactly what that means, I have a video explaining it in detail here. Now, because they believe they have made a casual game, they balance it for casual play. However, in reality, they made a heavily competitive game, and the effects of that are what's killing the game. First of all, casuals get dominated in.
I will say, casuals get dominated so fucking hard, like he was saying. Especially, like I was saying, for those people that have been just playing the game, just to play the game for the first time, or they casually are just getting off work or out of school, and they're just like, bro, I just want to hop on the game for a little bit and get a couple games in. If I die, I die. But like at the same time, me pisses me off the most is like when, like literally, as soon as I spawn in, there's a fucking the guy, I forget what they call him in this game, but like I know they call him Bubba in or they call him Leatherface, pretty much. Long story short, Leatherface, that motherfucker, he'll spawn like in one room over to me, and I'm like, bullshit. And he done killed us all before we even could do anything. And I ask all my friends, who'd you die by? Leatherface. Everybody died by Leatherface before they even. And I know for a fact that is not fun for even the other killers. Because like when I was was playing killer, I got into it like as when the very first time I did play. Like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But the game seemed like it was. I don't know. Hey, first off, you have to know the maps where everything's going to be. Okay, that's one thing. But when it comes down to like because Leatherface is down in the basement, the first time he fucking killed everybody. That was the first game I ever played. I was like, damn, that was easy. And then a couple games later, it happened again. And then a couple games later, it happened again. And I'm like, this is not fun. Like, it really was not fun for me because I'm like, I want to get some action in. And yeah, I may not be that much help, but still.
This version of the game, tryhards are going to exploit every imbalance that's meant for casual fun. So balancing a competitive game in a casual way is totally pointless. If you want to balance in a casual way, the game itself must be casually designed, which TCM currently is not. Another negative outcome of this identity crisis is that competitive players get frustrated because when other competitive players use completely uncounterable mechanics to beat them, it's an awful experience. An unbalanced competitive game is not fun for anyone. The ripple effect is that competitive players leave first because they see the imbalance early on and say, well, this is stupid, it's a waste of my time, I'm out. And then as more competitive players leave, casual players start to get the brunt of it, and then they leave as well, right? Because it's just not fun, and these people know that their time is better spent elsewhere. So at this point, Gunn has to make a big decision on what the game is supposed to be.
Yeah, because like, why would I want to sit there and try my ass off on a game that don't even know what the fuck? First off, it's supposed to be, and second off, they claim to be, like he even said, a casual experience, but like when you get into the game, it really feels like a skill gap is there. If you're not exactly sure like what the fuck's going on, the skill gap is so big in this game compared to like Friday, even Dead by Daylight. I thought Dead by Daylight was so fucking competitive then. And then, but now when I even watch people play it and play it myself, I can still hop back in and then kind of understand what the fuck to do. Like just do the generators, dodge the killer, and don't do certain stupid shit. Same thing as Friday the 13th, but at the same time, Friday the 13th, has all these things that you have to go do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that, and you got to know exactly where shit is so that you are able to even fucking do this and do that, do this and do that. I think if honestly, like being 8, you should be able to unlock the doors even without tools, in my opinion. But it should take longer to do. Like, it should either take longer to do or make it fucking easier to find the tools that I need. Like, have them. I don't know. You don't make us be able to like at least like on day by day, like you're able to do the generators and it opens the door. Make us be able to. I don't know, like fucking. I really just don't know how to fix it, but I will say that making it longer, if like being at like at most get a fucking one of those damn bones that are hanging from the damn roof or some shit, and you're like, just yeah, you could sit here and say this and that, but I didn't make no videos on Friday the 13th because honestly, every damn time I do play this game, I end up getting my ass beat.
Casual or competitive, then they have to fully commit their balance and design to that vision. And people who say that players make any game competitive and it's not the developer's responsibility, that's just not entirely true. This is not a fantasy world where everyone is just going to choose to play a game in a casual way, right? We have to be realistic and understand that design and balance direction do have a major impact on how the gameplay flows. Now let's explore these options. Let's make it easy for the developers and really look at both of these options in detail. Option 1, make the game casual. Although this is my personal preferred option for the game, it's also the most unlikely to happen because in order to balance the game for casual play, it requires a heavy redesign of a lot of the core game mechanics, which is not something developers like to do. It takes a lot of time and it's a huge risk in their eyes. The reason a redesign is required for a casual direction is due mainly to the fact that Gun picked a terrible format for creating a casual game. 3v4 has a very tight threshold for making a game where one side is supposed to be powerful, right? They've sort of shot themselves in the foot before the race even started, and now they have an uphill battle with making the game work casually because the game can't be casual in an organic way. The casual gameplay has to be somewhat forced. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let's use Friday the 13th as an example. It was a 1v7 game, which was a much better format for creating a casual horror sim because obviously Jason had to be powerful enough to deal with 7 victims at one time. In TCM, if the victims are as weak as they were in Friday, then matches would be over in minutes every time. The family would just obliterate all of the victims. Often matches can play out like this now, where Leatherface will kill all 4 victims in the basement super quickly. That's fun for the Leatherface, but that's not fun for anyone else in the match, whether they're victims or Leatherface's teammates. Also, getting killed super fast as a victim just does not feel good. Like, Johnny can melt victims with the right build, but that's again just not fun or interesting for anyone else but the Johnny player. Likewise, if they make the victims too powerful, it makes the family not feel threatening whatsoever and more of a speed bump that the victims need to get around, which is just a terrible experience for family players and also betrays the entire concept of the game. And there are just endless clips of this happening in the game on both sides. So how do they force casual gameplay in a 3v4 game that's been designed to be played competitively? Well, in a casual redesign, the game has to be slowed down. And most importantly, every match needs to feel like a story, like you're experiencing a short version of the film. There needs to be a personal connection between all of the players in the match as the match plays out. In order to make this work, the family needs to be powerful and threatening, and yet at the same time, the victims need to be survivable. The gameplay loop must move away from just killing and escaping. I know another game that fully committed to the idea of kills and escapes, and it didn't turn out well for casual play. Instead of did I win, the more important aspect...
I don't know what game he's referring to, but I will say, if it's Dead by Daylight, I kind of do understand that because most casual players don't really most people that are like wanting to play a horror genre type game, they're not sitting there saying the first type of game ain't going to sit there and be like, oh, Dead by Daylight or this or that. Like I would love to have another game that is like Dead by Daylight, but or Friday the 13th, if anything, because that was just so much more fun, more scary, more this and that. And if you died, you stayed even at end game, you had more of a reason to stay because you got an XP bonus, and also you wanted to watch your friends escape or this and that, and or you just kind of secretly hope that they died. So that y'all could get into the next game, which was fine with whatever. But the most casual player could, it felt like, could just hop in Friday and then after a game or two could figure it out. Just figure out what the fuck to do. When it came down to Dead by Daylight, it felt like it took a little bit more of a learning curve, but not such a fucking big learning curve that you... that it felt like it took months to figure out, and or if it didn't take months to figure out, it took you at least a good solid day, and then by the time you got done, you're like, do I even like this game? And if you do, good, but if you don't, and you was like me, after getting so far into it, and I kept coming back to it just to keep trying to see if I would like it this time or that time or last time or next time. I don't know. It might be next time that I like it more, but for me, it's every time it's not.
A casual game is, did I have fun? So the primary mechanic in making this work is what we refer to as the hunger mechanic.
Yes.
And it's sort of going to act as a rage mechanic that makes the family more deadly at certain times throughout a match. When the victims first escape at the beginning of the match, the hunger mechanic maxes out, which allows the family to execute one of the victims upon downing them. So pretty much how the beginning of a match works currently. Once a victim dies, however, the hunger meter resets. During this time, victims cannot be executed. Instead, upon being downed, they would need to be recaptured. Much like how Leatherface brings victims to the gallows, family players would be able to bring victims to different areas like freezers, the dinner table, hooks, and leave them there until they get rescued or are able to slowly rescue themselves. Capturing a victim would reward the family players with as much XP as a kill does. The hunger meter would rise slowly throughout the match and as victims got closer to escaping. Progression equals aggression. If the victims start rushing too hard, the meter maxes out again, and they're more at risk of being executed again.
And also, I'm not even trying to be a dickhead about the map design. The map looks beautiful. You can even clearly tell, like in this video, that the maps are very well put together and this and that. But I want to say they're probably too well put together because they feel it is, I get so fucking lost in that damn basement a lot of times. And it takes me so long to figure out this and that. And especially like, oh my God. It just felt like, I was just so irritated. I get like my friend, he's like, man, I found the door. It's just over here. And I'm like, where the fuck's over here at? God damn, you're making call outs like we're in Call of Duty.
Every time a victim is executed, the hunger meter resets. Also, if the hunger meter reaches max, the family can execute one of the victims that are currently captured. So victims would have to make the choice whether to push objectives and let their captured teammates be executed or redirect their focus on rescuing that captured teammate instead. I would also massively encourage the devs to look at making the game a 3v5 as well. There's 5 victims in the vanilla game, so it is not an impossible thing to ask for. It makes victim queues better, it allows family to be stronger without breaking the balance of the game, and it allows this casual redesign, or any casual redesign, to work significantly better. I'd also reintroduce proximity chat from Friday into the game so family and victims could communicate in-game. Would this be used for toxicity half the time? Of course it would be, but it doesn't matter, and over time it would actually bring both sides together more, just like it did in Friday. Obviously, proximity chat is an opt-in feature anyway, and losers that do take it too far with toxicity would just be banned like they are currently in the pre-game and post-game lobbies. I just don't see any good reason not to add it to the game. It also incentivizes people to want to be on comms more, which is something that really needs to be in the game because a lot of people just don't use comms and it really makes it more difficult to play the game when people aren't talking. So again, what are the intentions?
That! Oh my god! Yes! I'm sorry. No one talks! Sitting here giving out call outs and all this and that, and nobody over here telling me shit. Like I'm over here telling, hey, homeboys over here by this certain door, or this or that, and then they don't. I'm like, yeah, I want to smack some bitches in the face.
These new mechanics. If done correctly, this casual redesign makes every match into a story. It allows for the pacing of the game to flow more organically and stays true to the original casual version of the game and movie that the devs actually intended to create but ultimately failed to make. Alright, now it's time to explore the alternative and unfortunately more realistic idea of balancing the game for competitive gameplay. Now I know the developers truly don't believe they have made a competitive game, but they absolutely did, and they need to accept that if they ever want to bring people back to playing it, right? I want to use Gears of War as an example here. Epic originally developed Gears into a tactical cover-based shooter, but they accidentally made a game that was way more fun to bounce around and have the Star Wars equivalent of a lightsaber duel, but with a shotgun instead. Now, they could have balanced that out of the game and ruined it because it wasn't intended, but instead they leaned into their accidental success, and now there's an esports league dedicated to it because the formula is so original and fun. A similar thing happened with DBD and chase-oriented gameplay. The point is that multiplayer games have a sense to take on a life of their own, and developers have to decide whether to roll with it and embrace it or ultimately destroy it. So if we are willing to accept the reality of the situation, let's talk about competitive balance for TCM. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Why are so many family players unhappy with the current state of the game? Now, you're going to hear a million different opinions, but the truth is that it's not really a balance issue. It's a design issue. And remember, we're no longer talking about a casual game here. We're talking about a competitive, full meta, no mercy, win at all cost type of game. So on the question of is...
I know, okay, for me, for example, I've wanted to be into like some organization when I first started playing games and stuff. I wanted, because my biggest thing that I got into when I first started playing games was watching like FaZe Clan and shit like that. Honestly, it wasn't even FaZe Clan in particularly. It was watching like just the montages, just montages in general. But the most montages that I did watch from was FaZe Clan, and I love that. I loved watching that, and then I loved. Then I started getting into other stuff, other types of games. I love watching montages on those games. But I was mainly when I first started playing video games, it was all on Call of Duty. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. When I first got into gaming, I started getting into wrestling games, fighting games, Mortal Kombat, racing games, and shit like that. And I was a little kid. I wanted to play something. I always liked John Cena. I was like, shit, let me play John Cena. Fuck yeah, bro. I love the customization part. Like I could create my own character and stuff. I can customize my own car and stuff like that. I love that shit. And then my first game that I actually started playing with people, other than Mortal Kombat or a couple of fighting games on in the Nintendo QDN, Nintendo, whatever it was. Because I played, or football games, I played a shit ton of those growing up because me and my dad would literally just be wanting to play NASCAR games and shit like that. It was just me and my dad going against each other a lot of times growing up. And I love those games. I love the hell out of them. Then I started getting into other games, and my dad, he kind of gradually got out of gaming, and it was... over time, we just quit playing. But I still loved it, so I found other games, and then I got into Call of Duty, and I found friends that wanted to play Call of Duty with me. I got into other types of genres, like killer games, shooter games, and other like hell RPGs and other kinds of stuff, role play games and stuff like GTA and Red Dead Redemption. I love those games. I love the hell out of them. But those games in particularly did not. I can't never find many people that wanted to play anything other than Call of Duty most of the time. And like me, I wanted to be a part of FaZe or something as a content creator. I didn't want to come in and say, "Oh, I want to be, that I want to do this or I want to do that." I genuinely wanted to be a content creator for a game, like some organization. So me and my buddy and brothers and stuff, we all buddies and brothers have all tried to come up with like some thing that like where we all make video game content together or stuff in general. And it's all fun. It's all fun. I love it. But playing one game kind of never was something that I enjoyed playing all the time. And like me and my brother, we try to make an organization with Fortnite, not an organization, but like all these are mainly friend groups, if you want to say, long story short, just a group of friends playing games together and shit like that. And we try to make channels, we try to make Instagrams, we try to make TikToks and all this and that out of all this shit. Long story short, none of it, somebody wants to quit doing it, or I just get bored of it. I don't want to play that game in particularly no more, blah, blah, blah. But there's been one game that I've honestly continued to play even up to this day, but I have taken a break off of it recently. That's the only reason I don't, reason I don't like do a bunch of shit. I don't make content really off of this game, but it is one of my favorite games, and it's Dead by Daylight. It's one of the games that I continue to go back to. Well, before Dead by Daylight was Friday the 13th a lot. I played the ever-living donkey nuts out of that game. And I don't know what happened. It's just a lot. Some of my other friends, they wanted to play Dead by Daylight, so we started playing Dead by Daylight more. And I've been playing Dead by Daylight since, I want to say 2018. I remember it came out free on PlayStation one year, and since then I've been playing it. I play it at least once a week. I will say honestly, that is one game I have honestly been playing since at least once a week. And it's not that I want to come out and not be the best or this or that on a certain game, because I'll never be. I just think I would rather. I honestly think that I would rather just have fun on a game, playing the game, and I genuinely have fun on like Dead by Daylight type games and Friday the 13th, and I even had fun on Texas Chainsaw. It's just that I genuinely didn't have no friends that want to play it, and then every time I did hop back on it, it just seemed like such a skill gap I did not understand. And if there was a org out there that I wanted to join, I would just like to join as a content creator if I did join an org, because I know I don't make the best content, not at all, but I'm pretty consistent with my content that I do make. I make different kinds of content too. Even for this channel right here, this channel don't have the best content. I mainly upload once a week on this channel right here. And if I have any like reaction content, that's mainly kind of the kind of content that I post or anything. I don't really know what I would do or where I would put what I'm going to do with a lot of this stuff. Anyway, my brain's going everywhere. It's just that I don't know why I went on this rant. Oh yeah, he was talking about organizations and stuff. Organizations was something that I wanted to make one, and I wanted to be in one. It's just mainly to have the name and like people like I don't know. The people that were in it seemed cool as fuck. But honestly, I feel like if anything, I don't want to. If I do join one, it'd be down the road. But it's just going to be for content. If I ever had that opportunity, I'm not going to be no daggum pro because I'm not good enough to be a pro on any game. I play on fucking PlayStation 5. Most of my videos are made from the PS5. My quality, hell, and I do all my editing through my damn phone because I do weird shit. Yeah. Anyway, my point is, organizations can't pick up games. This was what I was trying to get to anyway. Organizations can't pick up games like this because even if say if they're trying to pick up like Dead by Daylight, even though it's this and that, and they have tournaments and stuff around that kind of stuff, which there are teams out there that do only play Dead by Daylight and stuff like this, but and there's people that even pick up like World of Warcraft and blah blah blah, anything and everything. There's almost every game out there that has some kind of team out there for it. But I want to say, like the game Texas Chainsaw, I don't see people being able to pick that game up and go the way of picking doing like organization and this and that, mainly because of how the game is. It's even if, okay, let's say like he was talking about, they only go competitive, then I could see it doing that. But because there's that casual side of it that does not make the game, what do you say? If somebody is out here just trying to pub stomp people, they're good enough to know how to do that, that's good. But like, I don't feel like there's enough players on this type of game. At least Texas itself versus like say Dead by Daylight. Being in an org would be awesome as hell for a game that I enjoy, like Dead by Daylight or something. But or finding a team that would want to play consistently and this and that. I've thought about honestly uploading more Dead by Daylight content and stuff like that, but it is not always guaranteed to find the targeted audience, if that makes any sense. Because more people look up types of videos like this, if anything, like what happened to the game and how can they fix this. I don't know, or they try to look up the best perk builds and stuff. Nobody really. I don't know. I'm just putting my foot in my mouth, but I do really feel like I just put my foot in my mouth. I feel like this game could probably be in the competitive side. Like an organization could pick this game up. I don't know what the fuck I was rambling on about. Oh my god, I'm stupid. Long story short, yeah, after all that rambling, I feel like a game like this probably could be put into more of a competitive side than Friday could have, at least. Because I feel like, I don't know, and how would that even work? I feel like if anything, it would be better because the team aspect of it. and I don't see how it would be actual, like, because how would you get team versus team going against this type of game other than Texas? Because there's at least a 3-man crew versus a 4-man crew, and then and how would it be fair then? Still, because like you're going to have one player on the sidelines when they have to switch over to the killer side. I don't know. That's going to be that would be hard to sell. That's the main reason why I feel like that kind of gameplay that wouldn't be able to. This kind of gameplay wouldn't be able to do like competitive EA Sports or shit like that because of that aspect of it being a 3v4 type gameplay, or Dead by Daylight being a 1v4, and fucking Friday being a 1v7. I think I don't see how the teams would really go against and prove that they're better or this or that. I don't know. If y'all have any ways to prove it to me, and y'all see y'all have like videos, link them down below. I might or tell me at least about, like, hey, go to this channel and check out their videos and stuff. I would rather do that than get a link in my comments. But hey, you can do whatever. I'm not clicking the links though.
Family too weak? No, not necessarily. For example, if you have 3 tryhard family players on comps playing perfectly, you'll win almost every match. Even in a solo queue lobby as family, you'll usually win with good teammates who know what they're doing. So why is the experience still so miserable? Now, the best way I can describe it is to use an example from Dead by Daylight. A while back, a new killer was added to DBD called the Skull Merchant. Now, by all means, she wasn't a very interesting or strong killer in any fundamental way. However, she was virtually unbeatable if the player was using a 3-gen strategy, where she would pick 3 generators that were close together at the beginning of the match, and to use her ability to make it nearly impossible for the survivors to do those generators, which in turn made it nearly impossible for the survivors to win. So even though the Skull Merchant wasn't inherently strong at killing survivors, she could still win every match by playing in a very specific and extremely uninteresting way, and that's exactly how it feels to play family in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Victims can complete objectives so quickly in this game that family players are forced to become Skull Merchants in order to defend.
That was so true about Dead by Daylight, though. I think she was the last character I bought, but I played since, because I played with Chucky. I played with the Unknowing or Unknown, whoever it was. I don't even know if that's his name. The guy with the twisted neck and head and arms and shit. That was the last character I actually played at this time. And that means it's been a couple months since I've even touched the game. No, I played at the beginning of when they brought that mode of the 2 killers versus 8 survivors. I played that, and that was the last time I've played, because it wasn't that I didn't do that, want to keep playing. It was more like I got kind of bored of it, if I'm being honest, but because like I got it's like I got burnt out on that game, because I would get in and it like, especially getting out of work, and I'm like, I just want to play something, but then it just felt repetitive as fuck, and that's how Call of Duty kind of felt for me too. A lot of these games, that's how they feel for me. After so long, I'm fine with the repetitiveness. That's how most games are. But it didn't feel like, at least in Call of Duty, I would say, there's other game modes that there is. And hell, there's other shit that you can just do in like Red Dead Redemption and stuff. You ain't got to do the same shit all the time. Or GTA and this and that. But like Dead by Daylight, there was really only one game mode, and then the one game mode that they did have outside, or every now and then when they do bring other game modes, it's really just a spin-off of the original game mode. Like fucking it was just still like fix the generators and get out. Long story short, and with more players, yes, it was fun. And you could say the same thing about like Call of Duty, but at the same time, it's just a spinoff. But there's shit. I could go play Warzone. I could play. I don't know. It was just something. It was a bigger map. It was. Or hell, I could play only small maps if I wanted to, or I can actually go grind for. I had like camos I could grind for instead. Like on this game, like what am I really grinding for other than the perks or trying to get my character to get all the blood point? Like use Dead by Daylight. Like what am I really grinding for? Like getting all the blood points to level up my character enough. On Texas Chainsaw, I level up my character enough to get the stuff so I can get all the perks and stuff. And the same thing as Dead by Daylight, same as Friday the 13th and this and that. But after I've got everything what I want, like what I like, I mean, I could reset it all and make it feel like so I can have to go do it again. But that's the same kind of thing. That was my problem back in the day with Call of Duty, and most people did wish that they would bring that shit back. But it was the same kind of thing as like when I leveled my gun up all the way, but I can now prestige it, and but I will lose all my shit, and that I've worked so hard on this gun. I'll keep all the camos, but I'll lose all the damn attachments or all the variants and all this and that I had for this gun, and unless I had like some unlock token, and at least like Call of Duty, I have something to work for until I've finished all the camos, and then hell, the thing is like that's another thing. Like the battle pass, at least the battle pass, I feel like I had the battle pass to work for. I want to say in Dead by Daylight they have some form of battle pass, but my only problem with that battle pass was because it was only certain characters. Like they and a lot of the times it was characters that I did not buy or this or that, or I had to buy this character to be able to get this and that. Now, if I was able to unlock that character instead of having to buy that character, that would have been a different story. Like if I was able to unlock this character and then only was able to buy the cosmetics, now that would make more sense in my opinion. But like having to buy all the characters and the cosmetics and this and that, the battle passes didn't really interest me as much because I didn't have all the characters in the Dead by Daylight battle pass. So I was like, well, fuck, that's just stuff that I'm just never going to use because I'm never going to probably buy that character if anything. If I do one day, who says I'm going to actually use that character a lot or use that cosmetic or do this or do that, and that's the same kind of thing with like Fortnite battle pass. But like hell, Fortnite battle pass, they give you a whole ass character, a skin, or whatever you're gonna call them, operator or something. Same as Call of Duty, they give you that whole shit. Like if there is variants of it, like yeah, you have to buy that variant separate. But like, at least I get the main character. Or if I do get the variant, I'm able to use that variant of that character. I'm not even like yes, I'm not able to use that character, but like I'm able to like say this card right here. Like because there is 52 cards in a deck, this card is just the same. Like say if you like I did, I painted this white because I'm gonna draw stuff on them. But my point is, but say this card right here, I have this card, and if there's any assist, like this card right here was the card that like okay was the operator. But there's another, but the same card is the operator. Like, but he has another variant, and let's say it's this one, right here. Long story short, the fucking battle pass for Dead by Daylight didn't work out for me because of the fact that I had to buy the character to be able to use the stuff that I bought for or I earned in the battle pass, instead of being able to just use the character and this and that. Because I would understand being able to buy have to buy the cosmetics, but not being able to use a character because he's behind a paywall kind of sucks.
Yeah. So what TCM really needs for competitive gameplay that isn't just balanced, but also engaging, is more of a back and forth gameplay dynamic. Currently, victims pretty much win the game the second an exit gate is open. It's like a checkmate in chess, and it's incredibly uninteresting, which leads to chess merchant type gameplay. So in order to address this, family needs more ways to reset objectives so they're more inspired to play the game like a human and less like an AI. People want to have agency and feel like they can play the game in different ways without auto-losing or throwing, right? Which is what the current state of the game is in, and it's why most people quit playing family or constantly lobby dodge and DC. It doesn't have to be egregious, but resets should make sense. Relock a door at least a set amount of times, even if the locks are less powerful. Remove the fuse out of the fuse box or the wheel off of the pressure tank. It makes zero sense that these are not options for family players. Like, you have to understand that the game is essentially over when one of these objectives is completed. Imagine if the game just flat out ended the second a single member of the victim team died. Just instantly over in that moment. That would be awful. Nobody would want to play victim anymore, and rightfully so. It's dumb. So on to the next big issue with the game, rushing. Usually this is referring to victims rushing their objectives super fast. I've had multiple games where victims escape the family house before I'm even able to walk to it from my spawn point, which any unbiased person knows is silly and unfair. So one way this could be mitigated is by making the non-Leatherface family members spawn at the same time as victims. Currently, all family players must watch the full Leatherface cutscene for no good reason at all, and that should be changed. Another drastically important change that's going to have victim mains livid is to nerf wells. Right now, using a well has virtually no downside. If a victim is seen, the first thing they do is run straight to a well and reset. In higher level games where the players have really min-maxed their builds, victims will use wells constantly to the point where they're being treated like a fast travel system. So there's two proposed changes that can be made to wells. And as I'm saying this, I know diehard victim mains are frothing at the mouth, but they do need a change. It's just the truth. Now, I would only start by implementing one of these changes, not both at the same time. The first idea is that wells start out covered, and the victims need to perform an action like 3 seconds long with a lot of noise, or longer if they do it silently, to remove whatever is on top of the well. Then the well becomes available to use. This puts victims in a situation where they need to consider an escape plan before pushing objectives in the area. So it's up to them. They can take the chance and push the objective, but if they get caught and the well is still covered because they didn't take the time to uncover it earlier, then they're going to be in a really bad situation, and it's ultimately their fault for being greedy. This also leans into punishing rush meta quite heavily as well. The other option is more simple, which is make it to where victims always get incapacitated when using a well, unless maybe they have a perk to counter it. This would make wells more like hook states from DBD, and victims would really have to only use the well as a last resort instead of it being their go-to option like it is currently, because after the third use, they would just bleed out and die. Like I said before, only one of the two of these options would be good enough. However, it is vital that wells stay in the game because resets are necessary for the flow of a 3v4 game. Imagine if there were no wells when playing victim. You would basically just die every time you got caught out in the open. It's the same reason family members also need a reset as well. You should never lose a match until you've actually lost the match, right? Otherwise, you're just wasting people's time. Now, on the flip side, victims are also somewhat forced to rush because of Grandpa. With blood builds, family can max out Grandpa to level 5 in just a few minutes, giving them full aura reading on every victim, which just ruins the pacing of the match. So to fix this, Grandpa needs a bit of a rework. First of all, level 5 Grandpa should not really even be possible until the match has maybe reached the 10-minute mark, or if there's only one victim left alive. Until then, level 4 Grandpa should be maxed. Grandpa perks should also be revisited. Currently, Grandpa perks are randomly assigned in order at the beginning of a match, meaning family can have the best Grandpa perk in the game at level 1, or if you're in solo queue and your teammates are terrible, which is usually the case, your S tier Grandpa perk might get sent to level 3 Grandpa because of a stupid chicken perk and Wind Doom on a map that doesn't even have windows at level 1 and 2, which is insanely frustrating, right? So to fix this stupid inconsistency, Grandpa perks should now all activate at level 1 Grandpa, but with different tiers as Grandpa becomes stronger. For example, Suffocating Grip, the best Grandpa perk in the game that makes close encounters more favorable, would now make them 10% easier at level 1, 15% easier at level 2, and then 20% at level 3. This streamlines the system and lets players use bad Grandpa perks without unintentionally throwing the game and trolling their teammates like they do right now. While we're on this subject, exterior alarms should no longer work on basement doors. With all the other changes, it's too much and promotes brain-dead gameplay if we're being totally honest. Now let's talk about close encounters and stuns in general. Right now, victims can abuse the grappling in the game by forcing a grapple on a family member that victim is basically guaranteed to win, which then applies a 5 to 10 second stun to the family player. There's no counterplay to this at all, so obviously it has to be nerfed, and surely it will be, but
that part right there, I do understand what he's saying. But I was looking at the gameplay, and that consistent slash. I don't know if there's a cooldown on that, but I do agree. I do think that there should be some cooldown on that, like that. After so many smacks or whacks, you should have to be like, have to take a breath, be like, and then you're able to do it again. Because, like, for example, on Friday the 13th, even fucking Dead by Daylight, like, after you smack somebody, you get stunned for a second, or you have to technically wipe your fucking blade off, on at least Dead by Daylight. So it makes it where you can't just keep smacking. I do understand it takes a lot to knock somebody, but I'm saying, like, it should be more like after maybe 3-4 hits of getting hit, make them stun for a second and make I don't know, but able to keep track of them, like able to keep walking the same speed so that people can't just, I don't know, do that, like escape. I don't know. That might be too OP then.
General, anything above a 5-second stun is unacceptable in any scenario. And it doesn't even matter what game it is. That's just terrible design. Stuns always feel bad in video games, so that should just be a golden rule. I often see my teammates literally DC when they get hit with this. It's just one of those things that is fun for one side, but ruins the game for the other side. So those things need to be kept in check, especially mechanics that are so heavily ping reliant or easily abusable with a macro. Now, one thing I did not mention up to this point is the attributes and perks system. That's because this system needs revamped in any version of the game, and Gun has already confirmed they are working on that, but I want to focus in on attributes here because they should not exist in their current form. They add absolutely nothing to the game. They ruin the new player experience completely. They make the high-level play impossible to balance and force meta into the game. So what I would do with attributes instead is make them do nothing in-game at all, and instead tie them into the new perk overhaul system. For instance, if you have 40 points into proficiency, that would grant you access to more perks based around proficiency, right? Or for family, 40 savagery would grant you access to perks like Serrated. Alternatively, they could also use them as a currency for perks instead, so Serrated would cost 30 savagery points, for example. Something like that would be fine. Just get them the hell out of the gameplay, This is not Skyrim. We don't need attribute points and min-maxing in any version of this game, whether it's casual or competitive. While we're on this subject, let's talk about the new player experience because it is just awful. I'd say unplayable even. As a new player, you are going to do nearly 0 damage as a family player and die in one hit as a victim. That's on top of just trying to figure out how the hell the game even works. It's just completely unfair. Unfortunately, the player base is currently too small to incorporate any kind of matchmaking brackets for new players, so it's imperative that something is done to at least mitigate how terrible the experience is. Obviously, the best solution is to get the min-maxing out of the game, like I just said. Then, when the game does start to do better, there can be a matchmaking pool for players like under level 20 and better parameters like matchmaking pre-made groups against each other so that the solo queue experience is better. I don't want this video to drag on forever, though. I think generally the main ideas have been presented. Obviously, I can't cover every single outlier and every single problem in detail in this video, or it would be 10 hours long, so you'll have to use your imagination and fill in the blanks for now. Keep in mind the ripple effects of these changes I proposed as well. A lot of the massive issues like map design can't really be properly assessed until balance changes are tested out. That said, before we end the video, I want to talk about the good news. If you remember, I said there was some good news. It truly looks like TCM is setting itself up for a serious comeback. A few months ago, the devs said that they planned on supporting the game up until only August of this year, 2024. However, recently, they said that they were working on content for 2025. That means internally, they have created a plan for success. Part of this plan was obviously swapping Sumo Nottingham out for Black Tower Studios, which I'm assuming Gunn believes is going to do a much better job at managing the future of the game. This was no small decision on Gunn's part. Swapping out studios massively delayed content releases for TCM, so I'm assuming again that they felt it was worth it in the long run, which is important to take note of. Gunn has also hired a dedicated studio to make cosmetics for the game, so we're going to be getting a lot more cosmetics. Hopefully there's no more Spotify playlists involved in the pricing. We're also going to be getting 2 updates per month, one major and one smaller, with a DLC drop in each update, whether minor or major. And a lot of these cosmetics will be free as well, like the recent all-black outfit variant locked for hitting level 99. So if you read between the lines, there's a lot more confidence and actual hope for the future to get this game off life support and thrive. Like I said, for the first time ever, since I played the technical test and realized the game even back then was headed for a train wreck, this is the first time I'm feeling optimistic about the future, but in the end, only time will tell. I'm always wondering, if DBD had launched today at the state it was in back in 2016, would it immediately die like most other new ASIMs do now? I'm not sure. That said, let me all know what direction you want to see TCM go, casual or competitive. And as always, thanks for watching and have a good one.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is just sit here and say my thoughts on this at the end. Yes, I agree with a big portion of 98% of everything he just said. Now, if they want to go competitive, go competitive. I say go competitive all the way if you're going to do competitive. But at the same time, a lot of people are not going to be playing this game. I will say that. And then especially like he was saying at the end, like I was saying earlier, they should really put in some sort of thing, at least to make it to where you could sit there and figure out, okay, I want to play this. The fuck was it? Oh, I want to play a game, like, I want to play against people as good as me. And then they could be like, well, there's not, like he said, there's not currently enough players to do that. But at the same time, like I understand not adding skill-based matchmaking, but just do ranking at that point. Like if you're at a certain rank, you're clearly that good to be playing with people that are in that rank. Start doing that so that people that are that rank and I would say, like, okay, well, and then you could say, well, what if there's not enough people in a high enough rank as I am, so I can never find lobbies and this and that. That I don't know what to say really. Then at that point, I would say that's when they need to just make it to where you can just find lobbies. Then I agree with a lot of stuff this man said. I'm gonna put the link down in the description down below, and if y'all want to see more content like this, please let me know. I don't know. Honestly, I will say I don't know if where this content's going to go because I do like doing this kind of content. I don't know if I'm gonna put it on my main channel, on my extra channel. I'm thinking about just my extra channel, if I'm being honest, and because or just make a new channel altogether. And I'm thinking about just putting it on the extra channel, because like you probably sat here and seen. I didn't do no editing in this video, probably hardly any if I did. And this, I don't really want to make a whole ass react channel because I hardly ever react to anything. I probably will start doing more stuff like this down the road, but right now, nah, this ain't my main type of content. But I want to say thank y'all for watching, and if y'all have whatever y'all, I want to know what y'all's thoughts are on this game, if y'all even played this game, and whatever it might be. So I'm gonna say, do what you gotta do when you really want to do it. Have fun with your life while you can, and I'll see y'all next time. Enjoy. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm gonna try to do more. Leave thumbs up if y'all really liked it, and that'll let me know, or comment